My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. It is currently May 13th, 2025. It's 12:23 a.m. And what I want to preface this documentation with, first of all, this is the P.O.C. I remain subject to the P.O.C. clearly. Otherwise, I would not maintain ongoing real-time documentation, which is necessary in order to protect my life, my safety, and my well-being. Which is pursuant to my liberty, because the entity that is gang stalking is gang stalking with the intent to commit murder and engage in what is criminal defamation in order to commit kidnapping by the same government that's stalking you the whole time through satanic means. And engage in what is ceaseless psychological torture in doing so. So this is ongoing at Woodside Senior Apartments in Ontario, California. And this is also documentation that I want to preface with the internet. There's no malfunction with regard to the specific environment where you're kept under surveillance. And so the entity just committed what is with the intent to obstruct justice, meaning obsessively monitoring, obsessively stalking, reviewing everything that I review. In other words, as I look at documentation that's online that has been stolen from me by the same entity that's gang stalking me, and then I get on my other communication device, that is my cell phone, and in order to turn on the Wi-Fi, the same Wi-Fi that my laptop is operating off of, by the way, and the same cell phone that I'm using on a daily basis, where the entity is remaining connected to the internet. Nobody else is experiencing any malfunction. The entity that is gang stalking does not have a genuine malfunction. The entity is interfering with my access to internet with also knowledge about what it is that I'm going to document. And what the demon possessed, who are again illogical, unreasonable, only psychopathic and obsessed, very demented, which their criminal pattern of conduct also proves. They engage in what is criminal conduct with the intent to obstruct justice. And I don't not only document their pattern of conduct, I document their pattern of seeking to obstruct justice as I document their pattern of conduct. And obstruction of justice is, therefore, the pattern of conduct of the entity that is gang stalking. And that is also logical. And that's what follows where the government's engaged in public corruption. The government is engaged in what is a criminal system that is designed to conceal the fact that the government is the criminal. All right. So, and that's also the purpose of kidnapping, by the way, and gang stalking, to criminally defame the one that would allege that the government is a criminal. Okay. So anyway, I want to document the entity that is monitoring engaged in what is interference with internet, not a malfunction. And that is relevant to the very deliberately maintained environment where you have a fake sun that sits over the building for 12 hours. You're not having a genuine, there is no malfunction. Everything is psychotically at a level of, like a psychotic level of control of everything around me. The demons pace, their bodies move as I move, okay? And remember, they're moving in engineer light. They are obsessively monitoring me. And this is also happening on the internet via communication devices and everything. Remember, I'm not just being gang stalked. They are now gang stalking what is the person that's exposing the demons and the gang stalkers, the domestic terrorists. So the demon possessed are exceedingly hostile and absurdly psychotic in their endeavor to engage in both targeting and obstructing justice, which is also failing. So now they're going to federal prison and mental asylums for gang stalking upon being exposed as stalking someone. In other words, no stalker is going to then stop you from documenting them from stalking you. Documenting them in order to stop them from stalking you. Okay. But that's exactly what the demons are doing. The demon in unit number 55 that you saw gang stalking in the morning, under the fake sun, where she is walking and not causing any potholes in the sidewalk or in the asphalt. She's not causing any holes in her vehicle while she pushes on the gas pedal and slowly creeps under engineered light, driving out of the parking lot, monitoring me in doing so. Her footsteps are not heard while she's walking down the staircase. She's not causing any sort of vibration or earthquakes as she walks downstairs. It's the audible activity of dogs barking, which belong to the demon in unit 56, which is the audible activity that she is sharing while she's crossing path under an idle fake sun, which is the presence of engineered light all over the place, because that's not the sun. And then you're getting to, the purpose for that poorly set stage for demons is engineered light is covering everything. And also you're aware that because that's what's covering right now while the walls and the ceiling are cracking. And the same defendant that you see on video gang stalking in the morning, which is exactly what I documented on video, the fact that she's gang stalking at night as well at 12:28 in the morning. This is also when I get up and I pull my panties down. She's also obsessively monitoring my vagina then. This is an elderly, homosexual, gang stalking psychopath who's remaining present directly above me on the couch, where the amplified noise of the ceiling and the walls are cracking because the demons who are monitoring are also monitoring while I'm documenting them. That is, while I am documenting criminal conduct of a government and a bunch of demons, the supernatural is ongoing. The supernatural is relevant to what is the criminal conduct of the demons who are gang stalking. So just want to get to that. That's the relevance regarding the intent to obstruct justice as well. While the entity engages in what is harassment and psychological torture while you document them, it's the same thing when they are interfering with internet connection and you're not suffering any malfunction. And it's also informing what's actually happening in a surveillance state, which we live in this country. And you are being informed about what is actually absolute control regarding your access and the information that you have access to, and the connection of our devices and whatnot, as it's all come under surveillance and we are under surveillance, which you're also mindful now of the fact that it's happening in an environment that you can recognize wherever you're at. Because the demon that was gang stalking on video on May 12, 2025, which you saw on, let me give you the timestamp so we can all recall together what this psychopath was. Yeah, in the video at 7:36 a.m. where you can see the fake sun, which is to my, as I'm facing, standing outside of Tracy's front door. And by the way, while I'm starting the camera, you don't hear any walls or ceilings cracking. And at the same time I'm capturing that video, this demon in unit 56, which at 12 o'clock in the morning is creating again, like the walls and the ceilings and the it's crumbling down, like she's crackling the walls, while I guess an old woman that is very quietly walking outside on video is engaging in what is this pattern of stalking me with amplified noise amongst engineered light. She's monitoring, and she's not monitoring by herself. The monitoring system is happening as a means of vicarious government action, and that which is shared with the whole population. So when you're gang stalking as an individual, you just told on everybody else. But nonetheless, this demon is gang stalking on video under the fake sun that's captured over this apartment building at 7:36 in the morning on May 12th, 2025. It's May 13th, 2025, and it's 12 a.m. 12:31 to be precise. And this is the time where the entity is engaging in criminal interference with quiet enjoyment. Where the entity is monitoring evidence that I am in real time creating. And it is relevant to what is interference with internet as well. While the entity is engaged in that level of obsessive stalking, that's the entity and the environment where you're not suffering any malfunction or disconnection. The entity is interfering with the intent to obstruct justice, which is an unlawful threat to my life. The entity that's gang stalking is gang stalking with the purpose of creating a circumstance where they can take my life, where they can take my liberty and kidnap me again, and then falsely depict my character in doing so, so that they can throw me into some sort of institution with regard to gang stalking, and then criminally defaming the one where they are gang stalking you, and you are supposed to engage in freaking out in some sort of manner and making paranoid allegations. And the entity never got that from me. Instead, what the entity did was just engaged in gang stalking, which I documented, and then illegal acts of what is blatant just kidnapping, and then making up criminal charges, and then just throwing me into the mental area in the jail, where they're engaged in all manner of egregious violations of the state and federal constitutions in doing so. The entity never got the reaction that it typically is getting from the ordinary target individual when you are subject to psychological torture in the ways in which I've shown, and the gang stalking relevant position in the ways in which I've shown the entity practices, and then the ordinary targeted individual who is subject to what is inhumane targeting is not actually mentally ill, is a fragile human being that is reacting to that unlawful and inhumane program practiced by the government that's keeping all American citizens under surveillance, and amongst that surveillance system engages in what is targeting specific American citizens and then falsely depicting their character as one who is mentally ill. The entity didn't get that reaction or response from me. And this is where you have my documentation of repeated acts of kidnapping upon criminal defamation. All right. But these are the demons that are stalking with amplified noise, exhibiting mental illness, stalking with impossible light, exhibiting their mental illness, stalking under an idle fake sun. It's not even real. That's exhibiting all of their mental illness while they're stalking me together as a population. Again, exhibiting their mental illness. Psychopathic, to be precise. All right, antisocial, to be precise, those that are capable and deriving pleasure from causing the suffering of another, even wanting to take the life of another, sexually violating another, those who are inclined to sexual violence as well. These are the psychopathic personalities who are demon possessed, engaged in gang stalking, and they're a part of the government, which is what the state of California has also demonstrated, revealing the necessity of taking a lot of demons out of office and out of position of authority. But nonetheless, I'm going to go back to what I documented. The entity is engaging in what is not a non sequitur that's relevant to what the entity was doing while it's monitoring what I'm doing online, which is reviewing evidence that was stolen. And as I turn on my Wi-Fi antenna or radio on my cell phone, the entity is interfering with my connection, and this is the entity. This is federal stalking, Title 18. So the entity is interfering with internet connection, and I'm taking screenshots of that, so that'll be published to the Google Drive. It's federal stalking conduct, and it's done with the intent to obstruct justice, fully knowledgeable about what it is that I'm reviewing that they stole. Okay, and why does the entity that is in fact gang stalking and proves that you're gang stalking when you steal my evidence of you gang stalking? Because it is speaking to the malice of the entity that has engaged in what are acts of criminal defamation. And you know very well that the target individual is not mentally ill when you're stealing their evidence, proving that you are gang stalking them. And by the way, notably in Los Angeles, reiterated the fact that they are a bunch of demons gang stalking, which the documentation in 2024 establishes again. So stealing my documentation that is captured in July of 2020, specifically July 22nd, 2020, July 23rd, 2020, And also, what is July 25th, 2020? And let me confirm that. Yeah, July 22nd, 2020, July 25th, 2020. And also, what is, let me see, July 22nd and July 25th. July 27th, I have the documentation of. So these are the 3 days in 2020 before I am a resident in Los Angeles County. I had already documented Los Angeles engaged in the state of California's pattern of conduct. It is essentially the state of California that's engaged in the United States government pattern of conduct, meaning the specific environment is proving what is a system of surveillance that's underway throughout the country. That's the significance of you seeing what is necessarily a fake sun over you, a fake moon over you at nightfall, wherever you are in this country, because my documentation as one person is proving that it's impossible that there are two suns, which is necessarily the case when it's sitting over me as a matter of hard, tangible evidence from the beginning until the end of the day. Okay, this is speaking to surveillance that's underway, and it's surveillance that's satanic. It is demonic, and it's exposing also demonic activity. It's revealing the government's malice as well, and the government's specific knowledge that I documented Los Angeles County in particular in the year of 2020. And fortunately, not only did I document it in images and in video, which was stolen, so that the visible witness of the specific environment, because I'm showing you how they are targeting me while I'm at Cesar Chavez and Alameda at the in Los Angeles, and I'm at the Amtrak train station, and the fake sun is in its zenith at the top of my head, and you're looking at a bunch of hollowed out zombies, demons pacing all around me in that specific environment where the city of Ontario and the Los Angeles Police Department and the city of Los Angeles, the Los Angeles airport, having commercial airline planes are flying over me, where that fake sun is proving that they're all stalking me as a citywide effort. And that specific environment is relevant to that proof where you are being targeted by the state. This is documented on July 22nd, 2020. It's documented on July 25th, 2020. And this is evidence that is notably absent on my YouTube channel. That's because it was stolen from my repository of documentation, which is what was stored in my Google Drive, where the entity is engaged in federal stalking. The entity's theft of my property, my intellectual property, is not only an offense, and it's a criminal one. That's not infringement, and that's not intellectual property theft with regard to the ordinary means of just merely copying off of someone's idea, which the entity also has committed. But remember, the entity has engaged in what is stealing my content for purposes of obstruction of justice, in furtherance of murder and kidnapping, and also in furtherance of, upon kidnapping and murdering me, profiting from the content that I created to prove that they are indeed the gang stalking entity, the state of California. So this is exposing what is again unprecedented, a criminal prosecution for theft of intellectual property, which is also the evidence to prove domestic terrorism and psychological torture. The entity is engaging in this with full knowledge that the target individual, myself, Erica Lorraine Spencer, is under no circumstances mentally ill. In fact, the highly probative evidence of that is exactly why it was stolen, as I traveled from Ontario to Upland and then getting on Metrolink, a gang stalker, a documented gang stalker, who committed false imprisonment. And I'm going to play the podcast and document it because it's relevant to stolen evidence. And I'm going to highlight that evidence because the visible component to it, meaning I captured pictures to go along with my podcast. I captured videos to go with my podcast, where Los Angeles is flying over me in 3 helicopters, terrorizing and threatening with regard to the audacity of me to come from Ontario to LA and document gang stalking. Those demons know exactly who I am. They engaged in exactly what I've stated, the abuse of real issues such as Black Lives Matter, but it's just that California does not care about Black Lives Matter. California abuses things such as Black Lives Matter to engage in what is the malicious guise of federal group stalking and monitoring, organizing under the fake sun, engaging in criminal summoning under the fake sun, and pacing a helicopter over me under the fake sun, and then using things such as Black Lives Matter, where Black people in California are gang stalking with the corrupt law enforcement. They are engaged in public corruption together. These demon-possessed gang stalkers in California practicing terrorism and psychological torture do not care about Black Lives Matter. And I said what I said for a reason. All right. And this is documented in July of 2020. So the entity is in, and by the way, these black people that are in my bloodline are gang stalking me. That's evidence also. They don't care about Black Lives Matter. The Tracy Banks and Eric Spencer represent the black people in California who would ordinarily tell, yeah, Black Lives Matter, while they remain ignorant about the real world issues that are going on. They're engaged in what is gang stalking with the law enforcement that they rely on to engage in what is kidnapping me and criminally defaming me in concert with them. That's also relevant to the fact that they don't care about Black Lives Matter. Okay, but this is, again, the black UPS delivery man, the black Amazon Prime driver, the black police officers, the black fire department personnel, the black Starbucks baristas, the black neighbors at Woodside Senior Apartments, the black neighbors and the black people living in Los Angeles who were gang stalking me. The entity didn't hire any other black people working with speaker companies, but I was the only black one. But with regard to how irrelevant race is, with regard to understanding and recognizing the P.O.C., black is not a part of the narrative. Racism is real. Understand that racism is relevant to the demonic spirit as well. It's spiritual in its core, in other words. It's a demonic spirit where you're engaging in what are just a manifestation of hate for human beings. It's a demonic spirit. It's just a manifestation, it's a symptom of what is a spiritual condition. But I want to be clear, these black folks don't care anything about Black Lives Matter. They're out here monitoring and gang stalking me with these white police officers and these white demon-possessed gang stalkers alike, equally hating me. Okay? Equally hating me. So the entity is engaging in this P.O.C. and the entity interferes with internet connection with knowledge that I'm going to document this. And that's relevant to what is, again, acts of obstruction of justice. And then having this this barbarian in Unit 55 as the guise of amplified audible activity at 12 o'clock in the morning. When you, this is the pattern of conduct of the ongoing intent to obstruct justice while the demons are obsessively gang stalking me and they know that I'm documenting them and they are trying to and failing at seeking to stop me from doing that. That's the criminal act of obstruction of justice. So I'm going to include the documentation that is captured on July 22nd, 2020 first. And excuse me, as a matter of chronology, I'm going to include July 22nd, 2020 as the first podcast captured. And then I'm going to include what is documented on July 25th, 2020, because this is crucial documentation that I want to bring to the forefront. It is relevant to what else is relevant. What else is a part of the pattern of conduct of the entity engaging in intellectual property theft? And this is not going to be limited to state actors such as Tracy Banks, who has engaged in trying to assume my identity, falsely alleging things such as I died. I have never died. I've never been dead, came back to life. I've remained alive. I've remained subject to federal group stalking and monitoring as well. That's notable with regard to alleging the fact that I'm dead somewhere. The entity engaging in that is the entity that intended to take my life. That's a threat while you're lying about the fact that I'm dead to any other person. The entity is engaging in what is seeking to assume my identity, seeking to assume responsibility for my content, both my intellectual property, which is also the evidence necessarily published as well. Publishing the documentation is relevant to proving the fact, hey, I'm alive, I'm being targeted by the government, help me. That's the purpose of it. And the entity is both keeping me in that fishbowl, in that bubble, gang stalking me, stealing my content, suppressing it online, assuming responsibility for it, assuming my identity in doing so. And then also at the same time, wanting to, at the same time, falsely depict my character. Recall the documentation of the entity. This is Tracy Banks on multiple occasions engaging in documented acts of criminal defamation. As I document the specific environment, this is my intellectual property, my content, the substance of it in totality, relevant to the angles of recognizing the P.O.C. My content is that which she has sought to steal, and yet she is criminally defaming me. And this is the very content that she has sought to steal and assume as her own and profit from. This is the psychopaths that are going to federal prison and mental asylums. This is not the civil offense of what is copyright infringement. This is domestic terrorism and psychological torture with the intent to profit from what is content that I created in order to protect my life and safety and liberty. And with simultaneity 12:45 a.m., Tracy Banks is again engaged in psychological torture while her co-defendant, severely mentally ill together, is stalking with amplified noise. As I document very damning evidence about her engaging in both criminal defamation and also theft of intellectual property. which is the substance that she is referencing when she engages in what is documented acts, very foolish, documented acts of criminal defamation, but yet she's going to be prosecuted for stealing the very content. That's a psychopath. That's a mental illness that's specifically revealing psychopathic tendencies. Not a mentally ill person that's speaking gibberish and doesn't know what they're doing. No, 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 no. These are psychopaths, not intelligent. That's not what psychopathic personality disorders require either, because clearly she's not a genius. Clearly she's not clever. She's just desperate. She's treacherous. She is relentless. She's engaged in what is, any sort of level. There is nothing beneath her. In other words, that's a psychopath that is malicious. In other words, this is somebody that's engaged in both criminal defamation and also seeking to misrepresent my content as her own. Somebody that wants to be me, somebody that is in real time spiritually attacking and failing at stealing my spiritual gifts, and also failing at gang stalking and trying to misrepresent herself as being the targeted individual. This is a delusional psychopath, and she is caught up in the pattern of conduct as her gang stalking and unintelligent co-defendant is stalking with amplified noise. So Tracy Banks is being documented for her shared mental illness and malice and ongoing obstruction of justice while she's monitoring, while she's being documented. And no stalker that's being documented is going to stop the victim of stalking from documenting it in order to prosecute. And that's essentially what the state is doing when you are engaging what is monitoring after documentation has commenced. And the entity is aware of that because they're engaged in federal stalking. So I want to make sure that I document that. So the podcast from July 22nd and July 25th is going to be included. And I want to make sure that it is recognized that intellectual property theft is a crucial aspect of the criminal pattern of conduct that the entity has also sought, because the entity that sought to murder and kidnap me wanted to assume responsibility and my identity and the content that is created by me. And it was created by me not for likes and subscribes. It was created by me to prove the existence of not only criminal surveillance, referred to ordinarily as gang stalking, but also the fact that I am indeed being targeted. The P.O.C, the evidence of the P.O.C is proving both. Not only that the government is engaging in this system, but that I am being targeted by that system. Both angles are relevant because the entity sought to also assume my identity and assume responsibility for my content. And it is all obviously and thoroughly proven that it is me that's documenting that I am subject to the criminal pattern of conduct. All right. This is it's Tuesday, May 13, 2025. It's currently 12:48 a.m. at Woodside Senior Apartments, and I'm going to include the following podcast for July 22nd, 2020, which is evidence that is proven and on my website that was created by me for purposes of publishing the criminal pattern of conduct that is a threat to my life, safety, and liberty as I remain subject to it in real time, is published for that purpose to alert the federal government, the world, in order to expose what I'm subject to. And it's also to educate those that are in a position like my, the entity that is demon possessed is gang stalking those who are spiritually gifted like myself. And I want to be clear, the demon possessed, those who are lost, those who are likely engaging what is mimicking. This is a demonic imitation in the same way that the fake sun is a demonic imitation of God's creation. He created the sun and the moon. He did not create thousands and thousands of suns all over us, which is necessarily the case in the United States, where all of us are under the light source together. Satan is engaging in what is a demonic duplication, which is, again, under no circumstances even equal to God or reminiscent of God's creation and his mastery. In the same way, I want to be clear, those who are in darkness, those who are hearing from demonic spirits, they are alleging things that evidence does not prove, and they are also alleging things where they are ripping information and stealing information from actually targeted individuals. And they're also seeking to maintain a defamatory narrative in this country in order to conceal, but that's gone. The P.O.C is speaking to the fact, the unequivocal fact, and it is irreversible. It's established and it is irreversible. The fact that the government's engaging in surveillance in this country, and not only that it's satanic, it's revealing demonic activity, and the entity is engaging in what is necessarily the maintenance of a false narrative in order that anybody that would allege being targeted, that they would be falsely depicted as mentally ill. That's built into American society. And that's because in the United States, the government is targeting American citizens. And there are those who assert that they're being targeted and they are not. They're not. The entity that's being gang stalked is being targeted, is going to be surrounded by the specific environment and clearly subject to what is targeting by the government as well. And it is going to exceed what is merely being, and not saying that it's not right for the government, for the police to harass anybody. The police don't even have probable cause or reasonable suspicion with regard to what I've exposed that the country is engaging in. But nonetheless, they don't have any right to harass you whatsoever. They don't even have a constitutional basis. But I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm stating that I'm not dismissing harassment by police departments. I'm not dismissing. You might have been arrested for a crime that you didn't commit, or you did commit a crime, but they accuse you of some other crime. In other words, you haven't been wronged in one way or another, and perhaps you were held in jail for a day longer than you should have, and that is a violation of your rights. A violation is a violation. Believe me, I love rules and policies. They exist for a reason. I am not dismissing this reality, but what I am stating is that being targeted by the government is something that is a real threat to your life. The entity is engaging in what is pursuing you, chasing you down in planes and helicopters, which is proven in that specific environment. And it is something that you are able and capable of capturing in documentation, because the entity is that obsessively engaged in seeking to target you. And that level of evidence is what is going to stand out amongst those that will allege, well, they're being targeted, but you don't have any evidence to prove it, or it is insufficient evidence, because we are all in the specific environment, by the way. This is what P.O.C. is what is proving that. But you can see the distinction between Tracy Banks, a demon-possessed gang stalker who walks away from the fake sun that's remaining over me. And you were able to see the difference. The fake sun moves as I move. If I don't move, that fake sun doesn't move. When Tracy Banks moves, that fake sun doesn't move. She is not being targeted. She is targeting me in the same way that every other demon-possessed gang stalker is targeting me. And my body of evidence proves that consistently in the environment and the shared ongoing harassment and what is proven gang stalking by the entity in that specific environment. All right. So that's what I'm speaking to. So this is relevant, and it is informative regarding and this is also what I want to get to. It's spiritually significant because on the one hand, I want to be clear. It's still spiritually significant when demons are targeting other demons. Like I said, the lost it's a chaotic, treacherous, duplicitous, untrustworthy kingdom. You go in with Satan, he's not your friend. And if it doesn't work out for him, you will find a dagger, not even in your back, in your, Satan doesn't care. He's treacherous. So in other words, what I'm stating is those that are engaging in this targeting system, these are the demon possessed. This is spiritually significant. You're not gang stalking as a Christian. You're not gang stalking when you are filled with the Holy Spirit. You are gang stalking, engaging in the behavioral pattern in the specific environment when you are demon possessed. So if you think you're saved and you are gang stalking, you're not. And you need to, if you want, you need to get that right with Christ Jesus. Now, today is the day of salvation. Tomorrow is not promised. You are not. You are not filled with the Holy Spirit while you're engaging in what is demonic behavior. Satan's spirit is what is using your vessel and monitoring another person. That's demonic. So I want to state that unequivocally. And what I also want to state is that the entity that's engaging in this, it is spiritual. So the entity, the demon-possessed Satan, is targeting those whom he knows are to be used by the Lord Jesus Christ, those whom he wants to use for whatever his purposes are. And the entity tried to stop me from doing that. But this is how great God is that in their targeting me, the Lord's will is accomplished. And that's because he sits on the throne outside of time, working all things for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purposes. And so this is how Satan is under no circumstances. He is always the tail. Right? He's not the head. And so in targeting me, it is accomplishing what the Lord's will is in the first place, that this word get out about what Satan is doing, who Satan is using, and how it looks, what it operates as, and how also to be privy, to be aware of the deceptive times that we are in. The specific environment is existing in plain sight. Demonic activity is occurring in plain sight. And it is so psychopathic as my documentation also shows, these demons know that they've been exposed, and that in plain view, everyone can look at and see exactly, okay, they're fake son. You can see that's actually a demon, and they're while you've got three bodies, one walking across the street, one walking across the parking lot, one walking on the sidewalk. That's pacing. They know that you're able to see them, and they are still doing it. Okay, demonic activity is happening in plain sight while you are aware of how they operate. You need to understand that it is these are the times that we've been in. It's just that the Lord's will is that you not capable of remaining ignorant to it. You can disregard it if you want, but you can't say that you weren't told. You can't say that you weren't warned. And the entity is engaging in trying to conceal that by falsely depicting the character of someone like myself, whom the Lord would use to give out his warning, to give out his message. And it's not also coming through tarot card readings that is demonic. The Lord God himself is not speaking through demonic spirits, monitoring spirits, and engaging in all the demonic iterations of people. No, they're not. They're listening to Satan. And you know what Satan does? Satan sits around monitoring people like myself. And he also doesn't even relay the information truthfully. These are not those who are speaking on behalf of Christ. And it is Satan's job, and it is his goal and purpose through deception to misrepresent himself as doing so. They're called false prophets. Okay, so the entity that's engaging in this pattern of conduct is doing so with an ongoing obsessive endeavor to, in every way, deceive and muddy the waters. But I'm going to state that the evidence is exactly what it is, exactly what I stated at the outset, and what the evidence proves in the way in which you would prosecute any case. And moreover, the lesson that you are learning is that deception and the lie wants to look very much like the truth. And that is also, again, revealing what is necessary, a personal relationship with Christ Jesus, and not a reliance on the evening news, not a reliance on what it is that you feel in your gut, and what it is that you are sensing, and what your tarot card reader or whatever your palm, whatever witchcraft, whatever it is that you're relying on, everything other than him himself, that is the Lord Christ Jesus, which is again a personal relationship with him, being sealed with his Holy Spirit, he who gives discernment, he who gives the ability to see and understand things that those who are in darkness and those who are listening to those who are in darkness together are not able to see. And there are those that are ignorant, and they're ignorant about their ignorance. And there are those who are ignorant, and they are maliciously keeping everyone else ignorant. And by ignorant, I mean ignorant about their need for Christ Jesus. They are very much devoted to hating Christ and hating Christ's coming and his children and what it is that they are here to do. So this is, again, criminal conduct that I am prosecuting, and I literally had to prove because of the satanic nature of it, and because of the actor. The government is bullying an American citizen, and the government is doing so. Not only the fact of the actor itself, it's the government. It's also the government that's resorting to Satanism. That is bigger than any one person can confront, and it is only by Christ Jesus. And there is no other name that has given this information, given this message, given this insight. Okay, so first of all, but I also want to make sure that it's known and understood that the entity is seeking to falsely depict themselves as being targeted in order to confuse. But the P.O.C is providing your ability to recognize, okay, well, and it really doesn't matter because if you're being targeted, then that's something that you are able to document and you're able to enforce your rights about. It's speaking to inform the masses about what the government is doing and what Satan is doing as well. And Satan is a spirit. So remember, Satan is using people, and it's relevant to note that the United States government is given over to demonic behaviors that are designed to hate people, human beings with God-given rights, hence the inhumane program of monitoring. All right. So I just want to speak to that. Now I'm going to document and upload everything to the Google Drive. It's May 13, 2025. And this is a podcast that's going to include documentation, again, that is stolen as a matter of evidence and also relevant to the malice behind criminally defaming me in the first place, the malice behind kidnapping me repeatedly, while at the same time both stealing my content to profit from it. You want to assume that, ooh, I did this, this is my genius, while at the same time you're trying to criminally defame me for while I create the content and I'm documenting you. I'm also documenting you as you walk away, and that fake sun remains over me, proving the fact that you are nothing but a lying, demon-possessed gang stalker serving Satan and the government that's engaged in what is domestic terrorism and psychological torture. And you can fill in the blank. But I will also be clear, it is not limited to Tracy Banks stealing my intellectual property. It's not limited to Jason Isaac Fields, this demonic kingdom spouse couple engaging in what is worshiping Satan, serving Satan, and targeting me and stealing my content and profiting from it. And it is that which is going to be stripped from them. I will drain the pockets, and they will relinquish everything that was any and all ill-gotten gains from targeting me and then stealing my creation, which is also the evidence of it. And there is no business form, no income created, no form of wealth that is generated coming from me, Erica Lorraine Spencer, and my creation, which is my content. They didn't think of any aspect of it. And it's not limited to only Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks, because remember, it's relevant to surveillance. So my content, this idea is showing up in any movie, showing up in any television show. The entity that's engaging in surveillance is aware of what I'm publishing online, while it's also trying to suppress it on the internet. It's stolen, but yet when you look up the P.O.C, you don't see it anywhere online. That's also relevant. At the same time, the entity has stolen my content. It's not ignorant. None of this criminal conduct that I'm subject to is just coincidentally happening. Okay, so this is again speaking to the way in which inevitable justice is going to be provided. And I don't care who you are, I don't care who you think you are going to relinquish anything that you have stolen from me. And it's proven already through the P.O.C that you stole it from me. So it's currently 1:02 a.m. It's Tuesday, May 13, 2025, and this is P.O.C. All right, both demons, Tracy Banks and her sex partner, Jason Isaac Fields, are together engaging in what is monitoring. These are demons that are hostile to being exposed for stealing from me, for having a perverted mother-son sexual relationship, while mother and son are both sexually obsessed with me as well, monitoring me in the spirit. Trying to steal my ideas while they sought to profit from it. And they're also both engaged in and invested in obstructing justice by blocking the internet Wi-Fi, which Tracy Banks is monitoring and is again delusional. I'm going to publish this documentation about the demons who are both gang stalking relevant position and also demon possessed people such as both Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks, who are both monitoring in the spirit, both obsessively consumed with what that which is never going to happen. Jason Isaac Fields is never going to be my friend after having sex with my mother, stealing from me, defaming me, kidnapping me, trying to accomplish maliciously murdering me and making it look like suicide, etc. This is somebody that is engaged in obsessively monitoring. That's psychological torture. This is a demon as well. I am not going to be associated with any demonic person resorting to witchcraft. Christ has not called any of us to spiritually attack other people. This is not something that you do as a Christian. This is not something that you do as a Bible-believing Christian. This is a demon who is obsessively monitoring me, and I'm also going to document that. While this demon, that's not a legitimate and actual investigator, he's monitoring, he's gang stalking, and he is fearful of everything that I continuously expose about him, while he is gang stalking with his sex partner, Tracy Banks, who is in relevant position, gang stalking with him. It's 1:08 a.m. Oh, the demon in Unit 55 is still stalked with amplified noise as well. P.O.C. The following documentation is captured on July 22nd, 2020. Helicopter flying directly over my head as I sit at the bench at the same location at the Union Station in Los Angeles. They are monitoring my use of my communication devices, and third parties patrol walking in and around the entire building, also sitting beside me on the benches, all with communication devices. That is P.O.C. It's 10:11 a.m. and I am sitting on the bench that is nearest Alameda, sitting across from what is says on the outside of the door waiting room. As I have stepped outside, I'm beside the Amtrak, which is on the inside of the building. Again, that is the same helicopter that is flying directly over my head. It's P.O.C. in Los Angeles County. 10:18 a.m. That is another helicopter. I'm at the same location. Flying directly over me. That is a black and white helicopter flying over Union Station again. That is 7 minutes later as they monitor my activity on my communication device. So when they're flying over audibly, they remain present over me. By they, I mean this is the state flying airplanes and helicopters over me. When I am in a different county now, this is Los Angeles County, engaging in the state system of stalking, monitoring, and surveillance. And this is the creation of audible activity as they are flying in relevant position over me with simultaneity to my activity on my communication device, while third parties surround on the ground with communication devices in the relevant position of the entire zone. That is, those third parties that are outside, sitting on the bench, walking around, engaging and working on a job. Each and every person has a communication device, and this is the state system in operation. That's P.O.C. It's 10 minutes later. It's 10:28 a.m. That is the amplified sound of the same helicopter over Union Station. Again, they are creating audible activity as I am in operation of my communication device. That's monitoring. And this is while I am surrounded on the ground by third parties with their communication devices, and the state also engaging in creating audible activity through repeated use of their sirens, which I am also documenting as I sit outside. Siren sounding upon my turning on my communication device. Sirens sound at 9:45 a.m. As I get onto Metro Wi-Fi, sirens sounded again 2 minutes before 10:27 a.m. These are just different methods of the same conduct. It is audible activity, and while the planes are, that is specifically the helicopter flying around above Union Station, and that is flight over where I am surrounded by communication devices. That is the system. That is P.O.C. for monitoring. That is P.O.C. for stalking by the state. Los Angeles Union Station. It is 10:30 a.m. now. That is a helicopter flying to my right. And to my right is the Amtrak inside of the building. That's the sound of third parties wearing yellow jackets. Those are third parties crossing paths with communication devices. Third parties in front of me wearing the yellow jackets, wearing communication devices. Third parties sitting on the benches outside all around with communication devices as this helicopter 2 minutes later flies. And the building that's right over the Amtrak outside is the tall golden yellow skyscraper. The helicopter that looked blue and white flying at a fast speed, crossing path in the sky, creating audible activity. That's P.O.C. It is 12:26 p.m. and those are the images of the fake sun directly above me as I stand outside at the Saris Bus Plaza right here in the at the Vignes end of the Union Station. The helicopter flying over as I'm standing underneath on the first floor outside, and the fake sun directly above me, which I did capture images of. P.O.C. as I come and sit at this end, and the cameras show
that it was pretty much desolate. And again, as to P.O.C, third-party role is to surround with activity, and that's exactly what they did. Lines forming at the bathroom, literally patrolling into the bathroom, patrolling into line at green bowl to go, salads, wraps, soups, engaging in forum, cleaning the tables, security guards standing around, third parties surround, and that is a P.O.C by third parties at all places. And this is P.O.C, of course, the hallmark of the stalking by aircraft. That was the helicopter circling above, as I said, outside beside the Amtrak at arrival at the Union Station. That was a helicopter flying around Los Angeles and Alameda directly above, patrolling in the sky in relevant position as third parties surround, and LAPD engaging in crossing the path. That is the state. And as I walk down Alameda Cesar Chavez and at Bochette, however you pronounce that, Bochette, the helicopter remaining and patrolling in the skies. The fake sun surfaces at around 11:45 while I'm standing in the front at Los Angeles and Alameda. And as I enter Union Station, again over here at the Pat Soros Bus Plaza, you have the fake sun out in full. Let's be clear, the quote-unquote cloudy skies, that is just disguising the presence of the fake sun. The state engages in this chicanery, this trickery, this manipulation of conditions. It is still P.O.C. Fake sun is just additional proof, irreducible, insurmountable proof of a state system, speaking to the universality of a system where third parties are surrounding. It is an enhanced light tactic where they are monitoring with communication devices. And again, the fake sun surfaces directly above me as I'm standing on the first ground level at the Pat Soros Bus Plaza. That is P.O.C. This is Los Angeles and at the Union Station. This is July 22nd, 2020. It's 12:43 p.m. and I did board the metro train. I am on car 647B. B as in boy. This is just to note the images that I did capture of all of the non-available rides on Metrolink. If you observe from all of my images that I captured, in addition to P.O.C, this is P.O.C as well, cancellation of all the rides, narrowing down the routes available to San Bernardino County. There was one to Victorville. There were the ones to San Bernardino, and then Laguna. That's Orange County, and those also happen to be in front of that camera that would see that sign. But my images capture how all of the routes were made unavailable, and this is also contrary to the published schedule. This is P.O.C. Rampant P.O.C. in Los Angeles. This is P.O.C. by Metrolink as well. It is the same system, just documenting the ways in which this entire system works. It is a targeting system. Everything about the way that they operate is pursuant to P.O.C. And the fake sun, again, over the station. The metro trains mirroring my movement, sounding the trains in the same way that Omnitran does, using the vehicles themselves to create activity that also mirrors my movement, my activity, or any change thereof. That is precisely what the metro trains, the metro station, the conductors, those controlling the trains are using them for, and that is a fantastic experience. When you are documenting P.O.C, that's exactly what they are doing. It's the same thing with the metro buses. And that is not unique to them. That just happened to be where I was at. It is a means of activity creation, and that is what they use. But I just want to note that's Metrolink engaging in that creation of activity, the same character of activity, mirroring my movements and creating activity pursuant to that. That is for monitoring as communication devices surround. In addition, the fake sun surface right above the Pat Soros, as I already documented. This is all P.O.C. It's 12:45 p.m. And I am now going eastbound towards San Bernardino. 12:48 p.m., July 22nd, 2020. The image I captured was that of a white plane, and that is flying directly beside my window as I am riding eastbound on the Metrolink. Again, that is the planes engaging in that ongoing monitoring, fake sun out. And that is a white plane that I captured outside of my window, flying essentially beside me in relevant position, monitoring ongoing on the train, monitor ongoing as we are in transit. This is the system in operation. actually an opportunistic element for documentation. Every person on the freeway in relevant position under the same fake sun, they are engaging in that same system as I'm in motion on the train, and this is speaking to the airplanes that are flying beside me on the window. This is the universal tools that they use where the planes are flying over, where the helicopters are flying over. The system is in operation, and that was again 12:48 p.m. Airplane flying essentially next to me in relevant position as I am riding eastbound on this Metrolink train. P.O.C. 1:56 p.m. Those are images of the fake sun directly above me as I depart from the Metrolink train, getting off at Upland. That was conductor D. Parker, engaged in P.O.C, facilitating P.O.C on the Metrolink train. Airplanes captured following while on the train, third parties on the freeway, the entire route engaged in P.O.C. This is the system in operation traveling using the train. The system in operation in Los Angeles, the system in operation back in Ontario, that same fake sign over Petsaris Bus Plaza over me as I get off of the Upland, at the Upland station. That is P.O.C. And it is now 2 p.m. and I am back in Ontario, in Upland now at the Metro train station, July 22nd, 2020. The image taken at 3:40, these are at third parties who are sitting in their vehicles. This is the third party conduct. This is the stalking on the part of the state. These are third parties acting on behalf of the state who is flying over in airplanes. And that is the image of the fake sun directly above me where I sit at the bench in the downtown Upland area. I am sitting at 116. This would be 2nd Street, and so in this blocked off section of the parking lot, you have third parties that are patrolling, driving in and out, using their lights in their vehicles, and engaging in that stalking conduct of sitting in their cars in relevant position while activity is consistently created, and they also engage in creating that activity mirroring my movements. That is monitoring while they surround with communication devices, and this third party that I captured already engaged in that sitting in their car, characteristic of what all third parties are doing, and that is the example of what all other third parties are doing. This is in the Civic, that's license 7 Victor Japanese Paul 128. That is a third party sitting in their car, and I captured the other image of the third party sitting in their car, and that is a characteristic of them remaining in relevant position under that fake sun. Again, that same exact sun over me at the Petsaris bus station, that same fake sun over me as I get off at that Metro train station directly above me, and it is directly above me, the literal object, as you can see, in the middle of the slot where third parties are engaged in the P.O.C. of monitoring on behalf of the state, with the state. This is intentional conduct, and that is P.O.C. It's 3:44 p.m. 4:17 p.m. Those are images of the fake sun. I am on board the Metro train, currently at the Baldwin Park station. I'm looking at San Jose Multi-Specialty Medical Group, Inc., St. John's Family Pharmacy. I'm looking at the Baldwin Park Metrolink station, and this is where the fake sun is directly above me outside of my window. That's what that image shows. You can hear the train. There's police parked on the side of this station. 150, the last 249. I could not see the whole license plate. I am at the Baldwin Park station, and this is the fake sun that is the state placing this light object. You can see it's in the sky directly over me, and this is police stalking while I am in transit on the Metrolink. This also implicates federal law in and of itself. This is, I am still looking at, trying to find the nearest address. Oh, I'm at Bogart and Pacific, 14400, and That's the corner of Pacific and Bogart, the Baldwin Park station, and that is the literal fake sun directly over me. Now, it has been over me the whole time. What I captured was, at the moment I started digging in my bag, what I took a picture of is this ILA, this impossible light activity from the fake sun being directed onto the seat in front of me, and that appeared at the moment I started digging in my bag. This is that ongoing corporate invasion of privacy, ongoing surveillance, listening to every move that I make, the creation of activity as I move, the creation of visual activity, that is the placement of light. This is the state using this light source over me to direct light onto my person, onto my environment, and with simultaneity to my movements, activity, or any change thereof. This is P.O.C. on the Metro train. Right? That is the Metro train that I'm on. That's P.O.C. It is 4:21 p.m. At 4:43 p.m., that is an image capturing the fake sun that is at the very tip of my window. It is aimed directly over me toward an angle that was intended for me not to be able to capture, but you could see from the glare. That is not from a flash on my camera. It was not flashing. That is the actual fake sun object beaming into this window, onto this train, onto this car. And if you also see what is in relative position, it is the freeway. There are the residences on the opposite side of this brick wall, the freeway on both sides, and then the third parties on the train. This is the system in operation traveling on the train tracks. This is Metro, and this is P.O.C. Replete with the fake sun. And so this is a total picture of how California's system works. And this is while in motion. This is showing the expansive system and the seamless manner with which the people of California, as the single unified group acting together in concert and on behalf of the state, who again is stalking by airplanes, helicopters, and by police, and also utilizing emergency vehicles representing that same entity, fire and ambulance, that's the state as well, and utilizing instruments such as that fake sun. This is a light enhancement tool as third parties are systematically engaging in monitoring by driving past on the freeway, by being in relevant position as this train is in motion. That is a search while Metro is stopped in the center of the freeway. I am looking at Fremont. It looks as though this is exit 22. This is on the, I'm looking at the Fremont Avenue exit. So this is the 101 freeway, the 10 freeway, I'm not sure, but that's the freeway. Fremont exit number 22 in the center of the freeway. That is a search. This is P.O.C. and this is showing the tools that the state engages in P.O.C. and this is occurring on the Metro train. It's 4:47 p.m. 5:09 p.m. This is arrival at Union Station at 5 p.m. Exactly, but this is after walking through Union Station, and I broke down in my documentation how P.O.C. unfolded as I walked through toward the Alameda exit. They have a loud drilling area right across from Wetzel Pretzel as I walk through the hallway, and again, this drilling noise, this is audible, loud activity as I am approaching this area, and it begins at about maybe 3/4 down the hallway. At the same time, the state, represented by Officer Carney, and his number 18, I believe it is Officer Carney with Los Angeles Police, 18366. This is the state crossing paths with me while they also are creating audible activity in relevant position, while ILA, the fake sun, is aimed directly on, followed me all the way here to Union Station and is right here. That's the image I took at 5:09 p.m. directly at the center where I'm walking out of the doors of Union Station at Los Angeles and Alameda. This is P.O.C. This is already confirmed. This is just another form of concrete, irreducible, insurmountable evidence of the state system, and it is in operation in Los Angeles County. That is P.O.C. Okay, I just took a series of images pursuant to my capturing the fake sun. That's ILA. So this is the presence of all three elements. This is intentional third-party conduct. This is the intersection of the entire system. Isn't that interesting? I'm not being a poet right here, or symbolic, but I'm actually at the intersection of Los Angeles, Alameda, and Los Angeles, California. So what I took a picture of, you have a third-party male on the stairs here. That's what I took a picture of. His image, he just represents a third party in general, engaging in intentional conduct under a fake sun, right? The state has placed this fake sun here. This is not the sun. This is a scientific fact. This is easily, readily, immediately provable. What is occurring under the fake sun? This is P.O.C. This is third party intentional conduct as he is blasting his music, creating audible activity. I took a picture of Water and Power, Los Angeles, engaging in creating light activity as third parties engaging in intentional conduct, patrolling in traffic. Their very engagement in that, all of this is pursuant to an ongoing system of monitoring and stalking. The state has placed this fake sun. The state is the one that's flying over in airplanes. The state is the one that is flying over in helicopters. And the state is the one that is facilitating the criminal system in operation. And so what I captured are the third parties that are in traffic intentionally engaging in relevant positioning. The third party on the stairs intentionally engaging and creating audible activity. The third parties in the form of Water and Power in the center of Alameda, intentionally engaging in creating light activity. This is P.O.C., and this is that which is occurring in Los Angeles, California. All of this under the fake sun, which I have captured today, just within several hours, over several different locations, all of which are none of the actual location of the sun, none of which are the actual sun itself. This is showing the system in operation, and this is showing how it is in operation, how third parties intentionally engage in it. This is not a series of coincidental conduct that continues to occur. You are seeing the ways in which California engages in its criminal system. That is P.O.C. It's July 22nd. Let me make sure I stress that. It's 5:15 p.m. And this is just walking out of the Union Station and just capturing it in lifetime. And they engage in malicious, intentional conduct. That's what I am capturing. That is P.O.C. 5:46 p.m. images are just showing how that fake sun moved from the center of Los Angeles and Alameda to the center of Cesar Chavez and Alameda, where I'm sitting at the bus stop for Metro Local. Buses 33, 68, 70, and 71. This is where the buses are also passing me by. This is opposed to how they were passing with frequency as I was here earlier and the day before, and they were engaging in P.O.C. This is another form of targeting, not stopping at all at the stop, P.O.C. And there is a commercial plane flying over the mosaic in front of me, P.O.C. So that is 5:48 as I am engaging in narrating real-time P.O.C. At the corner of Cesar Chavez and Alameda, and as I was speaking to the targeting conduct as the buses are now not stopping at the bus stop as I sit here, whereas they were engaged in frequent relevant positioning, that is bus after bus after bus, stopping at this very stop that is formed for engaging in the P.O.C. by the bus lines. As I sit at the bus stop, not stopping, in real time, speaking to the corporate invasion of privacy, speaking to the targeting, the monitoring that is going on, a Metro Local bus, at the same time that a plane was flying directly over the mosaic. And that is where the Metro Local bus drives right up. You can see that in the images and passes right by. This is, again, this is still P.O.C. It is also showing the targeted conduct. It is also showing the real-time knowledge, the specific knowledge that third parties are engaging in P.O.C., that the monitoring system is operating with. Not a coincidence that as I am speaking to P.O.C. of their targeting by not stopping at the stop that a Metro Local engages in, slowing by and then continuing to pass by. I did capture that bus, and at the same time what I also captured was the commercial-sized airplane flying over the mosaic in front of me, and I also captured what I was speaking of, the fake sun that moved to the center of the intersection, Cesar Chavez and Alameda. This is real-time stalking by light. This is real-time invasion of privacy. The intentional conduct that third parties engage in is pursuant to their ongoing knowledge of that targeted individual, myself, listening to every word that I speak and listening to every move, watching every move that I make. This is a monitoring system, and that is P.O.C. And you have the Sheriff's Department driving past at Cesar Chavez And that is all, again, the same monitoring conduct, especially while I'm using a communication device. And so this police officer driving on Alameda, approaching Union Station, duly driving past the Mosaic, crossing paths with me under the ILA, and while planes are present. That is P.O.C. It is July 22nd. It's 5:52 p.m. That is license 8JGM293. That is third party and relevant position right here in front of the Union Station. They create activity engaging in whatever they are doing. That is stopping a car, unloading and unloading a person, unloading and unloading a baby, luggage, whatever it is. They create activity, and it also mirrors my movement. And my movement at that time was operation of my communication device as I captured the picture of the fake sun that moved to Caesar. And you can tell by the placement underneath it, it literally relocated itself to where I was at the center of Cesar Chavez and Alameda. Returning back to the Union Station, it is 6:07 p.m. If you recall, I did capture this fake sun directly over Broadway in front of Bank of America at the same time. It is directly above the same location it was at an hour ago at 5 p.m. upon my arrival. It was specifically 5:09 p.m. So you have this fake sun in the same literal position. So this is what I mean by ILA. It is not only not the fake sun, which is already a readily provable scientific fact, it is also not even behaving in any way like a natural sun. It is in the same position, literally following me where I go. This is speaking to what all third parties around me are doing and doing intentionally under these circumstances that are set for purposes of the criminal system of monitoring. Monitoring an American citizen. And LAPD engaged in the same pattern of conduct of stalking, engaging in the pattern of conduct, engaging in frequent crossing of paths as an agency at all streets I've been on, which has been Alameda at Los Angeles, Cesar Chavez. At this intersection, they're engaged in crossing path, again, under this fake sun that is moving as I move. That's the police moving as I move. That is third parties moving as I move. This is P.O.C. It is 6:09, and this is fascinating. This is what they do, and these are the asinine and criminally desperate tactics that they do it with. That is P.O.C. It's July 22nd, 2020. I am not returning to the Union Station. That's P.O.C. Okay, it is July 22nd, 2020. It's 6:28 p.m. This is a narration of what I captured as the P.O.C. in Los Angeles County, Los Angeles at the LA Union Station specifically, and on riding the Metrolink train specifically. This is speaking to that which is a state system. Again, the fake sun captured at the same position it was at upon my arrival to Alameda in Los Angeles at 5:07. At 6:09, it's still at that same location. And between the time of 6:14 and 6:23, what I captured is the fake sun directly over the train that I board to get on and ride back to San Bernardino. This is the targeting conduct with the ILA, the fake sun, the impossible light activity. It is directly aimed on the train. It is directly aimed on the seat that I'm sitting at. This is also reflected in my documentation. Not only that, you have the planes that I captured flying over the train. This is including the image of the helicopter flying in front of the train with the airplanes. And in addition to that, I captured the presence of police right behind the train while I am in operation of my communication device, while I am capturing the helicopter. This is P.O.C. for stalking and for monitoring. And again, the use of the announcement is also P.O.C. Understand that. This is audible activity, and it's also pursuant to their knowledge that I'm documenting their P.O.C. But again, that is 6:14 and 6:23 p.m. Capturing helicopter, capturing airplanes over the train, capturing the fake sun directly on the train, not just present, but moving to the train from Los Angeles and Alameda, directly over the train, over the window, over the seat where I'm at, and police presence at the moment that I'm capturing the helicopter and the plane. That is 6:14 p.m. to 6:23 p.m. And that is P.O.C. That is all hallmarks of the P.O.C., let alone all elements. And this is on the Metrolink. I am on car 671B as in boy. I am sitting in seat number 87, and this is eastbound back to San Bernardino. Again, July 22nd, 2020. And it is 6:31 p.m. So just to reiterate, because the announcements, again, that's audible activity, that's monitoring as well. This is the capturing between 6:14 and 6:23. Again, the airplane flying over the train, the movement of the fake sun on the train that I'm riding back to San Bernardino, through the window onto the seat that I'm sitting on, the presence of police in the picture where I am also capturing the helicopter and the plane in the background. This is all hallmarks. This is P.O.C. and this is on the Metrolink. This is in Los Angeles. This is at the LA Union Station. Again, the same venue where, the same county where the helicopter engaged in patrolling up and down over and around me this morning, and I return, and it's just an abundance of POC that there's nothing else to say other than the facts speak for itself. This is the California state system, and those are all of the elements and all of the hallmarks. Amazingly, this is a very diligent effort to continue to engage in stalking and monitoring while they monitor my documentation of their criminal conduct. That is what is so profound about this case against California. Okay, 6:32 p.m.
July 22nd, 2020. This is documentation of the people of the state of California acting in concert with the state. That is the public entity that is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, and my ongoing documentation of the people of the state and also the state as it acts directly. So this is documentation of the state acting directly and vicariously through the people. On July 22nd, 2020, and on this date, I travel from the city of Ontario to the city of Upland to the city of Los Angeles, and understand that's going from San Bernardino County to Los Angeles County and back, and the ongoing elements remaining present and the state's light source keeping its central presence directly over me on foot, on the third-party Metrolink train, and in the city county of Los Angeles. Okay, so this is July 22nd, 2020. License plate 7PKL674, 8WB2794, 41764F1, 49082D2. Metrolink, and I do arrive at Union Station at 8:35 a.m. Metro number 315, and that is on track 5B. And I did note also the ongoing stalking via aircraft as I am at the Union Station. A helicopter flying over me at 8:45 a.m. At 9 a.m. a plane flying over me, and this is while I am at the Union Station. 9:28 a.m. a helicopter flying over me. 9:40 a.m. the helicopter flying directly over me as I sit outside of the Union Station on the bench on the side entrance facing Alameda. A black-faced helicopter flies. Sirens are sounding at 9:45 a.m. at the same time that I touch my phone and log on to the Metro Wi-Fi. 9:55 a.m. helicopter flying over the same location. So this is patrolling by the helicopter. At 10:11 a.m. helicopter over my head as I remain at the same bench at the Union Station. The helicopter patrolling over Los Angeles and Alameda. And patrolling at Cesar Chavez and Alameda. Department of Water and Power creating light activity. License D22325. License 1494626 at the center of Alameda. That is P.O.C. License 4PN1265. License 7YWV951. And sirens are sounding as I am noting third-party license plates. 7AZL832. 4UTG189, 1298389, which is a bus, 1296699, 1469515 is Department of Water and Power, maintaining its presence in the center of the street at Alameda in relevant position, creating light activity while the state is patrolling over by helicopter and airplanes. This is License plate 6WAL 641 40496L2. Department of Water and Power, license 1136013 1263389. I'm noting USPS. I'm noting that the helicopter is still patrolling over Bauch, that's spelled Bauchet, and Alameda. It's a black and white helicopter. RSI ambulance is crossing path at Alameda and Cesar E. Chavez. And again, this is under the state's fake sun, which is directly over me as well. And the RSI ambulance is using its sirens, crossing path, and creating light activity. And that's at Alameda and Cesar E. Chavez. I've got license plate 1567649. That's a California exempt license. 1240490 49317R2. 8F68560, 7Y1X273, 5LYT341. This is Los Angeles Police 1499815. License 8GGP 642, 7WKS 218. I've got the Sheriff's Department crossing path as well on Cesar Chavez as I stand at the intersection writing down license plates of third parties. 5TEL 946, California exempt license 1514863, 1478493, Department of Water and Power 1319006, 7MSD 798, license 7GME 343, 7DRM 876, 11915P1, 1490549. Again, that's a bus, the Los Angeles line bus. They have many lines of buses, but I'm noting this license plate in particular is another bus. 8E0W534, 7YRN099, 1415475, 8E05371, 1490311, that's a bus. 1392569, 8ASC308, 07975W1, that's a Metro bus. The LA DOT buses, they are engaging in repeatedly crossing a path in concert with the third parties in their private vehicles and with the state. In the Sheriff's Department vehicles and Los Angeles Police Department vehicles. 7EVL 611. Helicopter is over me at Cesar Chavez and Alameda at the Chevron, where I do make a purchase at that venue. License 5837JL2, 5ULB158, 6JQU272, 8CVR017. The helicopter is continuously patrolling. 15717Y2, 37160B2, 8NUVK231. Let me see, 8NUVK231. So that's got one too many characters in it, so it's substantially similar to 8NUVK231. 8LRB977, 8JJ7298. Sirens are sounding. Let me see, license of an Arizona license plate, AVR7909. Union Station at Vignes, that's spelled VIGNES. This is where I'm at. Let's see. License plate of Los Angeles police that are inside of the Union Station using the little go-kart vehicles. They're crossing path inside, and the state's fake sun is keeping present over the building on both sides of Alameda. So as I walk through the Union Station at both ends, the state's fake sun is present. And I did capture that in images as well. This is license of that go-kart vehicle that is operated by the Los Angeles police inside, which is the state acting directly, license 1515022. This is 12:48 p.m. A white airplane is flying beside me out of the window as I'm on third-party Metrolink. On the freeway, I am noting Los Angeles Police license 150047. Substantially similar, crossing path while the state's fake sun remains present over me on that Metrolink in the window. Highway Patrol 1541807, substantially similar to that. The state is crossing path on the freeway via fire department truck as the Metrolink stops on the tracks in the midst of this, ride back toward the Upland station. And so we're in the middle of the freeway and the fire truck is crossing path, and it's about half a mile before Atlantic Boulevard on the freeway, where I am noting third-party license plates as they're crossing path on the freeway while the state is maintaining its fake sun over me on the Metrolink, and the state is stalking via aircraft as well. Third-party license plates DD717, that's a handicap, 6HFC940, 7VQP725, 7PFE825. I am noting here the address, which is 3629 Santa Anita office, where a small white airplane is flying directly over me as I sit on the Metrolink. I'm observing it as I'm looking out of the window, and this is before the El Monte stop. The name of the conductor on the Metrolink is D as in dog, D Parker. I'm noting a white plane. It has dark blue and black on it, on the edges and extremities, on the edges / extremities of the wings. White plane flying as the Metrolink is stopped at El Monte. All right, I'm noting the AT&T building, the logo. License plate 6PMT265. I'm on car 647B of the Metrolink. License 13091C2. This is a tow truck creating light activity that is facing the train as it is in motion. That's at the Covina stop, using its hazard lights. This is the conductor, D. Parker, and this is also why I noted, not only because they're in relevant position, but the means by which they're engaging in the elements, the state's pattern of conduct of creating activity. And so as this conductor engages in walking past, intentionally creating audible activity, as he's jingling his keys, walking back and forth past me on the Metrolink train, which is audible activity. License 23X8352. 8RFZ937, 5TIL574, 7ZGR273. And there's a plane as I exit what is now 7-Eleven, so I'm back in the city of Upland. So that's going from San Bernardino County to Los Angeles County and back to San Bernardino County. And I'm noting license plates 8DBA481, 7VPJ056, 1987421. That's a paper plate. It says July 7th, 2020, a Mercedes van. I've got license plate 7UDX013 or 7VDX013. These are handwritten notes that I'm writing hurriedly as I am noting third parties who are on the run as they're in transit and their vehicles. And so this is what I'm reading. So that is either 7UDX013 or 7VDX013. I surmise it is a U based on my pattern of writing. I'm pretty sure that's a U. 92923N2, 7BXB661, 8611V31, 4NT7. 4NTH718. This is a red license plate, T2127. Again, that's T2127. That's a red license plate. 159Q769. I've got the number 180. 7FY2017, 7DNG395, license 6SMS463, 8JID486, 8JOH561, 6XSW703, 5UUZ 954, 6JGC300, 7RST 921, 8BEN 266, 8MOD 941, 6SGH 902, 8AKK 610, 7VJP 128, 7XVK 468, 6CQG 090, 43637A2, 7XWH 413. At 3:44 p.m., I am catching images of the state's fake sun. That is a light source over me at the bench in front of 116 2nd Street at the intersection of A Street. So this is just my documentation of my surroundings and the environment as I continue to document third parties and the state. I'm documenting the third party Metrolink, which I boarded at 3:46 p.m. westbound on car 647. This is train number 329. Sheriff's Department, license plate 1509265 at the Pomona station. They stand and park in front of car 647. That's the car that I'm on, while they're outside of the train. So that's a means of crossing path while I'm on the train. That's a means of monitoring as I am in motion. And that is the Sheriff's Department engaging in that. And that's the license plate that I noted. I have, let's see. Oh, I even described them. 2 Latino officers, they're male, wearing olive greenish color sheriff's vests and hats on both of them. Let's see. And there were 2 Sheriff's Department vehicles, so it looks like I got the license plate on one of them. All right, and that is at the Pomona station while I am on third-party Metrolink. I am being monitored on the train by Metrolink, by the patrons on Metrolink, and by the people of the state who are in relevant position boarding onto the Metrolink or in the parking lot in relevant position in traffic around the train while ongoing systematic monitoring is in process. That's what I'm documenting. Okay, I've got license plate. That's nothing but audible activity in the background. This is ongoing P.O.C. as I continue to document the state's pattern of conduct. License plate 8CLJ221, 7M50060, 8CKC762, 8NU2295, 8FQF551. And I am noting the state's directed light, that's the engineered light, on me and on the seats around me while I'm sitting on the Metrolink train. License 7VWM022, 7KAA107, 7HGF022, 58055W2, 7COS 963, 7KUZ005, BBSCHE, substantially similar, because this is all I have, BBSCHE. Third parties on freeway. Okay. All right, license 1238608. License 1463680, that's Metro Local. Metro Local license 1463343. License 8NRB407 1463373. 1478109, Metro Local. License 1453746. License 1509814. License 5ZWD867. 4ZG372. 7BQY106. 7ZPF799. All right, and this is, I am noting, I believe my position. I am on the Metro Link, car number 671B, seat number 87, train number 330. License 7XXA984. I do get off of the Metro at the Upland station at 7:33 p.m. Sirens are sounding. License 6YDX705. AU4K26, which I'm noting is paper. 8C, that's as in a paper plate. 8CMP993. 6ZBS108. 6LVC757. Okay, and it is... All right, I am also noting July 22nd, 2020 at 9:20 p.m. Third party, whose name I know, Alanson Bintu Lashley. That is referred to as a third party insider who did pick me up on, at this time, at 300 East A Street. That's the Upland Metro Link station. And P.O.C. was underway the entire time. The moment that he picks me up from the Upland station, the fire truck engaging in that activity, sounding its sirens, using its lights, crossing its path at Arrow and Euclid by fire truck with lights and sirens as the third party's communication device is on his lap. In the car with me is in relevant position. The people of the state are surrounding in their vehicles and in the surrounding buildings as well. I am being monitored while inside of Alanson Bintu Lashley's vehicle. And this is a third party who I met years ago and was monitoring me the entire time. And again, this is unbeknownst to me. Before I was aware that I was being monitored, before I was aware of any pattern of conduct. And this is one engaging in that same monitoring conduct while I am identifying what are the elements that remain present while I'm in his presence, that remain present while I am in his immediate presence inside of his vehicle, subject to monitoring the entire time in traffic, on the freeway, as he stops to converse in the parking lot while third-party group stalkers, the people of the state, aim their headlights toward his vehicle in the parking lot. And this is like 10 o'clock at night. This is nearest like Barranca off of the 10 freeway. And the state is maintaining its stalking presence via aircraft, which I'm looking at while we are conversing in the vehicle. And third parties are aiming their headlights onto the vehicle in that parking lot, literally parking in front of his car, facing the headlights toward me while I'm sitting in his car. In the state is, I'm looking at the state in planes outside of the window of his vehicle. And his name is Alanson Bintu Lashley. This is, let's see, yeah, that is July 22nd, 2020. The following documentation is captured on July 25th, 2020.
This is just to complement the image of the third party engaged in that stalking conduct, sitting in the alley behind the Yangtze abandoned building in the middle of the parking lot. It was directly behind me, headlights aimed on me as I was recording the P.O.C. at traffic. And as I stand, third parties sitting at the red light in relevant positions, the state controls the lights. This is how they engage in surrounding with communication devices. This is stalking by a group on behalf of the one entity that is operating this system, that is the state. This third party in the black Lexus license 8DAY500 is what I captured in relevant position at the same time as the plane is flying over, at the same time that the fake sun is engaged in following me down the street directly over me as I captured in the video. And that is just one example of what third parties habitually engage in. This is a pattern by them. This is stalking conduct, no different than if it was engaged in by one person. What I am documenting is this stalking conduct being engaged in by a group. That group is identified as third parties because they are acting in concert pursuant to identical behavioral patterns for a criminal motive. And this third party is sitting with its headlights on, that's light activity, that's in relevant position, that is under the fake sun, that is in concert with the state flying over me with an airplane, which I captured in the video. This is at 11:42 a.m. And that is a picture of what all third parties engage in together. That is P.O.C. and this is July 25th, 2020. Again, I have moved to a different location, and you see the patterns of behavior as they continue, as the state continues to accent all that I document that third parties are engaged in. They are listening to me document. This is the ultimate stalker conduct, the ultimate monitoring conduct by a group that is California. California, filled with stalkers participating in this criminal system, no longer hidden under the guise of anything. This is blatant stalking conduct in conformity to that which I'm documenting. He's literally sitting in the middle of an abandoned parking lot. There's nothing over here, sitting in his car, and then begins movement once I walk toward him, and also documenting his license plate, which they are aware of moment by moment, everything that I'm saying, and literally sitting in the car, engaging in that ongoing POC with a communication device as I'm documenting him right now. This speaks to the ongoing belligerence of third parties, that which they are hostile to documentation, but they are diligent and determined to continue to engage it. This is the ultimate stalker times like 500 million, however many occupants are in the state of California, because everywhere I go, this is the identical behavioral pattern. This is where the state continues to stalk me with airplanes and helicopters everywhere I go, and this is the related conduct that is complementary, engaging in all three elements, which is the absence of any coincidence. It is POC by the people of California. That is, again, license 8DAY Dog Anthony Year 500 POC.
That is two helicopters, one stationary directly over Cesar E. Chavez and Alameda, aligned to me in the sky. And that's the black and white helicopter that just continues to fly circles, moving as I move. I have moved from Union Station to Cesar E. Chavez and Alameda. I'm at specifically the 800 block. And this is third party surrounding in traffic. This is systematic POC. You got the sheriffs driving past, crossing path here at the intersection, and in the sky, that's the state literally patrolling. It's flying in circles. It's flying in circles where one is just staying right in the sky, still parallel to me, directly above me as I'm standing on Cesar E. Chavez looking at Alameda. This is fantastic, like spectacular documentation of a state engaged in criminal conduct. This is that which is designed to be intimidating. What it is literally handing over the most substantive, rich, direct evidence and exposure of a state engaged in targeting American citizens. And it shows you how malicious and how viciously criminal, specifically Los Angeles is. There is no form, like I was stating before in the video, that would make this legitimate. You've got the fake sun, you have the ongoing presence of the state via helicopter and police and airplanes, as they have demonstrated on more than one occasion. That's why I came more than once. And also the history of my documentation already that exists in Los Angeles, but as of late, within the past week, each time being greeted with the helicopter. Again, that's what I'm saying. This is the POC, and this is speaking to the character of the entity, This is speaking to the character of the state. And what I'm looking at now, let me show you. This is the state controlling the traffic lights. So third parties engage in intentional relevant positioning, sitting at the red light while a helicopter is circling above them, each and every one representing a communication device. This is systematic monitoring in traffic. This is at Cesar E. Chavez in Alameda. So like I was stating with regard to P.O.C, it is what it sounds like. Havoc. You would think that there was a shooting and a robbery. It's criminal conduct. And it is that by the state remaining over me, circling in the black and white helicopter, remaining over me. The buses engaged, those are commercial third parties engaged in P.O.C. License 1266914. They are armed with cameras engaging in P.O.C. As I am highlighting on their cameras, that which is P.O.C. by the state. And it is that which is beyond what one would ordinarily be able to recognize. You have to understand, though, use of the helicopter and the planes and the exaggerated presence of police is that which is hyperbolic in its form because the targeted individual is specifically aware and confronting and exposing the P.O.C. And that is why it is at this heightened level. And this is that which they are exploiting real issues such as Black Lives Matter. And that is not what this is. You've got the airplanes flying directly over Union Station. You have helicopters that are remaining directly over me, as I have documented before. The planes that stay directly over me and literally move in stride with me. That's what they're doing, while the other helicopter is patrolling in circles over me as I move. So as I move down towards Cesar Chavez, the helicopter is over there circling. As I move back to Union Station like I am now, he's now circling above me. This has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. It speaks to how disgusting this system is. They are engaged in what is called form. And this is why you stick to the facts. This is why it is important to understand what the elements of P.O.C. are. And this is also that which is people walking around holding up signs, which is also not calling for the presence of any helicopter or any line of police vehicles like they were in the center of the street until the moment I arrived at the corner. And then they engaged in consecutively crossing path with lights on their vehicles, sounding their sirens, and engaging in no emergency, no violence. There is no violent rioting or anything going on like that. This is P.O.C. You saw the helicopter was over the train as I was on the Metrolink arriving, circling over the Metrolink. This is clear targeting conduct having nothing to do with Black Lives Matter, showing how they care nothing about that, exploiting that, which is a genuine issue. And this is the criminal conduct that they're engaged in. And that is unsuccessful, unpersuasive form where you have a fake sun directly over. And the fake sun is there for purposes of monitoring. This is P.O.C. That's why the fake sun is there. And this is how and why you have to be able to identify the facts, because you are dealing with an entity that is convinced because of its pure numerous character, because there are more of them that they can get away with or engage in some sort of persuasive form. But again, the fake sun, which is not present everywhere that someone goes, that is impossible. That is the truth of what the matter is. And as you hear the helicopter, it's remaining directly above me. The other second helicopter remaining directly above me. I am standing back at Alameda in Los Angeles. This one helicopter remaining aligned to me in the sky, not moving, while the second is patrolling in circles. This has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. This has nothing to do with any form of emergency situation. The only emergency is that I am out here documenting criminal conduct that is occurring in a state system. It's called P.O.C. for monitoring in the state of California. It is 6:48 p.m. And this has been the documentation as I am merely at the Los Angeles and Alameda intersection, where third parties are acting in concert with the state, where the state has made its presence known, engaging in that criminal conduct at the arrival, sounding the sirens, mind you, on the Metrolink train, positioned right outside on Alameda with the lights on. That's creating light activity in the center of the street, and then crossing path as I walk out. Merely just a cross path as the helicopter engaged in systematic flight over and over and over above and staying directly above me. That's the helicopter that's remaining where I am. Okay, so let's be clear. This has absolutely nothing to do with Black Lives Matter, at all. Just like it has nothing to do with it in Ontario every other day when helicopters are doing the exact same thing when the police are doing the exact same thing. The city of Dark Angels, which is where I'm at, Los Angeles, they're giving an exhibit of how they like to engage in criminal conduct and have it posted on the internet about them, because that's what this is, and that's exactly what's going to happen. It is POC. All three elements are present. ILA, impossible light activity in the form of the fake sun, that is directly over the intersection as I captured. Also directly on the train through the window next to my seat, while the helicopters are engaging in flight over the train outside where I onboarded the Metrolink bus. This is POC in and out. That's audible activity. That's ongoing surrounding of relevant positioning by third parties and state alike, creating consistent audible activity through the sound of the helicopter and the state using police sirens. That is POC. That is the POC for monitoring. This is also that which they engage in by stalking. They represent the same entity that is practicing the same conduct. And that is how it is: stalking, harassment, and monitoring. And third-party aspect is very simple. This is the perfect picture of it. Remaining present, stalking, creating a universal form of activity while they just engage in patrolling as a group. This is a monitoring system in California. It is 6:51 p.m. And I just want you to hear how the helicopter remains directly above me. That's POC. At the intersection of Los Angeles and Alameda in Los Angeles, California, getting on the Metrolink, a third party engaged in the POC and false imprisonment. In doing so as well, while the fake sun is aimed through its window onto my person, onto my property, onto my through the window of, that's not a coincidence, and locking me inside. That is that which will be dealt with legally upon exposure of the entirety of the system, where the state is a stalker, where the state is the criminal. You do not have the resort of going to the police or suing in court as the criminal judges, Judge Garza, Appaloo, Rogan, Brody, Faherty, who's not even a judge, conducting herself as though violating my rights in doing so, demonstrate this over and over again. This is a corrupt system. This is a mere matter of documentation, and they will be liable for that as well. False imprisonment upon engaging in the criminal motive of monitoring me in concert with the state that was following me the entire time with the fake sun, following the entire time with helicopters and airplanes, which is a matter of documentation. That's POC. That is 1, 2, 3 helicopters and the sound of sirens. 1, 2, 3, 4 helicopters and the sound of sirens. And again, the helicopter is still patrolling over these skyscrapers that I'm looking at as I'm standing at track 6B as in boy, preparing to go back eastbound. And this is them surrounding the train, sounding sirens. This is audible activity. This is stalking and surveillance by the state. This is the fake sun that is also still over here off of Alameda. This is the complete system in operation as I come to a different county. This is that which I have already established, but it is even that much more confirmed. The ongoing system, and every third party, irrespective of their job, irrespective of their uniform, their status, are in relevant position with communication devices, where the state is aiming a fake sun on their property, on their business, on their person, in that environment. That is POC, and there is no exception. Where the state is engaging in circling over that area with helicopters and airplanes, this is the totality of that system. This includes the courthouses and the police stations and the city halls where POC was underway. That is POC. It is 7:29 p.m. Just listen. Commercial plane flying over the Metrolink train. Black and white helicopter. Another small white plane on the opposite side. Another black and white helicopter is literally flying around the building. It's flying in circles. And then the same conduct of the airplane remaining stationary, still in alignment to me as I'm standing here on the tracks. This is stalking by the state, right? This is where you sue the state, a public entity, as opposed to an individual. This is the state engaging in stalking conduct, and they are stalking because they are engaged in monitoring. You have to stalk when you are monitoring 24 hours a day. And this is my documentation of that conduct in a totally different county where the same exact elements are present, the same identical behavioral patterns. And Los Angeles County engaged in a highly terroristic form of that P.O.C. This is to be exposed about Los Angeles in particular. In addition to Metrolink, that engaging in false imprisonment. This is collateral to their engagement of P.O.C. on the train, facilitating the state's criminal system. This is, as I'm getting on the train, it's 7:30 p.m. That is sirens, 4 helicopters, and 2 airplanes as I am walking up to track 6B at 7:30 p.m. That's P.O.C. in Los Angeles, California. All right. The entity engaged in what is criminal interference with quiet enjoyment. This is the maintenance of a harassing and terrorizing environment. It's also psychologically harmful. The entity is maintaining amplified audible noise with simultaneity to, for example, as a means of demonstrating hostility towards something in particular that I'm documenting, or even something that I'm viewing online, since everything that is on the internet that I view, the content that I view, is subject to surveillance as well. This is relevant to the psychopaths that are obsessively stalking and spying on my devices on the internet, keeping me under surveillance, keeping my internet activity under surveillance, and then engaging in what is essentially reacting to it. And that reaction is occurring under what is circumstances of amplified noise and impossible light activity in the ways in which I've documented. The moment that I upload, for example, something about the Ontario Police Department have been documented stalking at the same time with amplified helicopter activity. The moment that I document something about Tracy Banks, the entity is engaging what is amplified noise booming inside of the apartment, or impossible light activity just flying through the air, scanning across the ceiling. This is the entity that is engaging in what is literally reacting to. That reaction is gauged by the supernatural conduct that's occurring inside of the obvious defendant, Tracy Banks's apartment, a third party, and the obvious defendants, the demons in units 49 through 64, who reside in this apartment building and who are remaining under an idle sun. That supernatural occurrence, which is within years of documentation, and the entity is still engaging in stalking while the stalker knows that it's being documented. So this is underway. What I am documenting in images is capturing the fake sun that's over the top of my head. This is at 11. Let me confirm that time. You will see the light source directly above the very top of my head. As I look up, there is the one single exclusive sun with regard to what we are all going to be comparing the environment around us to, the natural environment, because that's the impression and that's what we're conditioned, and that's what you are always measuring what our surroundings are by, what our surroundings consist of. And this is also the malice of the government that is engaging in what is creating the illusion of mental illness with regard to the normal, healthy behavior of human beings who are being maliciously targeted in supernatural means, such as stalking with light and amplified audible activity. They are comparing the behavior of a targeted individual subject to a program of psychological torture to that of one who is not subject to that sort of torture. And I want to be clear, they're comparing the target individual with regard to what are psychopaths who are the closeted mentally ill, who are engaging what are merely acting like they're healthy, merely acting like they're sane, merely acting like they're law-abiding citizens, merely acting like they're not raging, bloodthirsty psychopaths and sex offenders, to be frank. This is why you have the government engaging in gang stalking. This is why you have the population engaged in gang stalking, which is demonic, and it's public corruption. So this whole illusion of mental illness is based on the same premise, and that's exactly how you're going to prosecute. The premise upon what the natural environment dictates, the premise upon what the natural environment dictates is that the sun is not going to be over the same building for 9 hours. And as I'm capturing it over my head at 11:16 in the morning, you already know that I documented the fake sun in alignment to me while the entity kept that light source over me in the morning, which I captured on video, which was at approximately 7:30. Let me go ahead and document that. Excuse me, and let me remind you about that documentation at 7:36 a.m. on May 12, 2025. The natural environment requires that the sun is in constant movement, and there is no iteration of the natural environment where the sun is sharing some space 3 hours ahead as far as Eastern Standard Time, 3 hours ahead, and it's over me at 10:36 in the morning, and it's still over me, as the documentation also shows, after 3 o'clock, 4, 5, 6, which is why you document the psychopaths that are gang stalking and what is an entirely delusion. The environment is speaking to the delusional mindsets of the entity that is engaging in what is malice and engaging in what is impunity and also engaging in what is sexual violence as a community. And I also want to document that light source that you'll see over my head at what is 11. Again, that's 11:16 a.m. That's capturing the specific environment because you're also mindful of the fact that the entity is maintaining at this time of year from sunrise until sunset at all times of the day. The entity is keeping an idle light source referred to as the fake sun appropriately and accurately over me in Los Angeles, which again, same time of year, the sun's not going to be over Woodside Senior Apartments, and the sun is never over anyone in a natural environment for 9 hours when you are sitting and paying attention to the non-movement of that sun. That's the malice of the psychopaths who are stalking, and stalking includes what is that which is occurring while you are monitoring. Monitoring is relevant to psychological torture. Monitoring is relevant to what is surveillance, and it's criminal surveillance while the government has no warrant or probable cause. The government that's engaged in surveillance is the same government that stole my evidence against it, with the intent to commit kidnapping upon criminal defamation and ultimately murder. So you are always mindful of the fact that Tracy Banks, you are always mindful of the fact that the Ontario Police Department, both Derek Williams and Mike Lorenz have committed multiple kidnappings. And the entity that is monitoring me is the entity that's engaging in a very personal crime. It's as personal as the sun remaining over my person for 11 hours. The entity that is doing so in that supernatural environment is doing so with the Ontario Police Department, who have been under the corrupt leadership of both Derek Williams and Mike Lorenz, committed multiple kidnappings, very aware of who I am while they're keeping me under surveillance. The proof of that supernatural environment, in concert with the behavioral pattern documented by the demons of the Ontario Police Department, who have created, a body of evidence, who have engaged in what I wanted to say is multiple kidnappings and criminal defamation while stealing the evidence against them. And they're stealing the evidence of one whom they know very well. And I mean the entire department, including the demon-possessed chief, Mike Lorenz, and the demon-possessed chief formerly in that position, Derek Williams, while they're engaging in what is theft of my both intellectual property and evidence against them and the entity altogether, while you're both stealing it and then criminally defaming, which is necessarily the assertion of the malicious assertion of false charges, knowing I've committed no crime, and also aware of the fact that I suffer no mental illness whatsoever. The entity sought to obstruct justice and defame me by doing so. This is a pattern by the Ontario Police, and this is what is requiring disbanding and removal from law enforcement. No demon is going to go to a different law enforcement division or different state and resume their career in law enforcement. Documentation for terrorism as a police officer, being a part of that police department, you are done with law enforcement based on the nature of the crime. It's a crime committed by an entity. It's a crime committed in furtherance of murder. That's why you're gang stalking through police officers who carry weapons, who exercise authority that they don't have under the law to abuse it and control the narrative when someone's life that is being targeted is taken by a direct or vicarious actor. All right, so this is the entity that is gang stalking, and that fake sun is documented again at 11. Which is 11:16 in particular. And as I am capturing more images, what is 11:40 a.m., the people of the state in unit number 41, ongoing impunity exhibited with regard to the specific crime of monitoring, with regard to the specific environment that's specific to where I am, specific to what I do as I do it, including as I document. That is the entity is engaging in what is the specific act of using the sound or the voice of those two minor children, those two Latino boys, as audible activity while I'm capturing the impossible light that's on Tracy Banks' ceiling, framing her front door. The fake sun is over my head. That's also a very malicious and highly deranged method of psychological torture to engage in gang stalking with children, to use children as the means of audible activity, to use children as the means of monitoring when your genitalia is exposed in the bathroom and they're keeping you under surveillance with their children. And you're understanding what is the sexual predator that also has custody of children and the sick ways in which the entity is exhibiting, because it's not closeted. You're aware of their malice, and then you look at all the ways that malice is demonstrated, even through using their children. So just want to document that. They want to engage in it. I'm going to document it. They are the same ones that are going to mental asylums, and they are remaining a threat to those children who are a part of the criminal pattern of conduct as a way of life as well. If those children were never audibly heard, meaning if they were responsible and prudent enough to at least keep them out of the line of my camera, out of the line of my vision, in order to avoid threatening me while I'm looking at the fake sun, while I'm looking at engineered light, but they don't engage in that. They engage in with impunity before the federal government, before the judge, the court that's going to look at that evidence and sentence those demon-possessed gang stalkers all over 18 in that household. You're going to look at that evidence. You're going to look at the boldness with which they're engaging in domestic terrorism, including, to boot, replete with minor children, with knowledge of everything that was documented about those boys that they like to include in it. In fact, they call themselves engaging in retaliation the more that I document. That's how heavily the demons of Unit 41 are documented. And as I speak about them, they are engaging in psychological torture because engineered light is appearing and disappearing on the defendant Tracy Banks's ceiling. In the same way that the demon in Unit 55 is an outward demonstration of mental illness shared by all the demons engaging in the elements together, it's the same with impossible light activity, and their mental illness is again confirmed. They are reiterating their severe mental illness and the threat that they are to those minor children on an ongoing, systematic, ceaseless basis, in the same way that they are gang stalking me with the intent to obstruct justice, to threaten my life, safety, and well-being on an ongoing, ceaseless basis. It's currently 11:52 a.m. This is the facilitating venue at Woodside Senior Apartments in Ontario, California, where there's no sun that would be in a natural environment, possibly over my head at 11:16 in the morning or at any time, because I'm documenting at this time of year and until after this time of year into the summer, meaning there's no point at all with regard to what was documented in 2024. And that's just where I'm using my documentation. Anybody else in this country is a means to testify in court about the environment that you're witnessing. And this is how you're going to document a corrupt government for keeping American citizens under surveillance and gangs stalking me, targeting me while I'm under surveillance, which I never consented to. And it's in violation of my state and federal constitutional rights. And it's also a violation of my human rights. It's currently, again, 11:53 a.m. and this is P.O.C.